Hello, wonderful people. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm really grateful, and it's such an amazing time having you here on my videos and in my live sessions. Now, for many of you who follow me, you already know I've transferred from Midwestern State University, which is in Texas, to Prairie State College here in Chicago. And most of the times you do hear people say, oh, when you come to a school here in the state or you apply to a school and your fee is very huge, don't worry, don't freak out. When you get here into the state, you can do a transfer from your university to another university which is relatively cheaper, or probably to a community college where we mostly know that their fee are quite affordable. But how exactly do you do that? And that is why I'm here to throw more light on it, to let you know how you can do that in case you want to consider that option, because I've done it or I've gone through myself, and I am here to let you know how you can go about that in case you want to consider that option. So sit down and let's walk through. This is how everything started. Now, let me first advise people who want to consider this option but are not yet here in the state, but now preparing to come, or have gone through their interview, have got their visas, or are yet to go for their visas. Now, you have to make the decision as to whether you want to transfer right upon getting admission or getting your visa, or you want to first go to the school after a semester or after 2 semesters before you transfer. First, take that decision, because no school will transfer you out if you are owing the school. Like, you go to the school 3 weeks time or a month time and you now want to transfer out of the school. If you're owing the school, and of course you might have started classes already, or you might have registered for classes already, and therefore you are obliged to pay school fees. So no school will transfer you out if you are owing the school. So let's take note of that and plan ahead if you want to consider this option. But personally, I first went to the university for a semester, and after that semester I transferred out. So as at the time I was leaving the school, I was not owing the school was not owing me, and it was a very smooth process transferring me out of that particular university. So this is how everything started. When I wanted to transfer out, I first went to my programs coordinator and I sat with him, and he had a very good conversation with me. I was really amazed that I want to transfer out of this very school, and the program coordinator in the school actually sat me down to guide me through how I could transfer. I mean, that actually blew me out. I didn't think that, oh, I mean, a programs coordinator could actually do that, like sit me down and advise me to transfer out of the school. I don't know. I didn't know much about that they could do that, or they can, I mean, be very open to me in that sense. So the first thing I did was looking for a school. So because I knew I was transferring out, the research is basically the same as when you're applying from your own country, whether Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, wherever you're watching from. The process isn't really different from it. The only difference is that you don't go through the visa process again, unlike the way you do back in your home country. So I looked for the school, and then I called the school. I had a video call with them. We sat down, we had a conversation on exactly what I want to do, how their fee is, how I can apply, the documents they need. Actually, community colleges do not, most of them do not require so many documents like transcript evaluation, like test score, like this. Some will, I'm not saying all of them, I mean, don't get me wrongly. Some may still require for all those documents, but many do not require for those documents. And the school I applied to did not also require that. So even though going ahead, they may advise you to evaluate your transcript to get some credit off. If you don't, you have to do certain courses. But if you evaluate your transcript, you can take off some courses. So it will be to your own advantage. So I didn't have to get any transcript evaluation. I didn't have to do any test. I just filled the application online. And because I'm already here in the state, I have a visa already, the process was so quick. So that is one advantage. When you're already here in the state, the process will not be the same as someone who is back in your home country, Ghana, Nigeria, or wherever. Like sometimes it may take like 3 weeks, 1 month, 2 months before the school gives you a decision on your admission. When you are here in the States, because they know you are on a visa already here, the process is very smooth and very quick, because the only thing needed is your admission letter or your I-20, and then you move into the school. So it was very quick. I think within 2 days, I had got my I-20 already. I've got my acceptance letter already. And then they had given me the documents, the affidavit of support to fill in and get my I-20. So that is how everything actually started. So you cannot transfer out without involving your DSO, or your designated student officer. Now, when you look on your I-20, you will see the name of your DSO on it. Sometimes, I mean, I don't know how you have been in contact with your school, but then you should be in contact with your DSO also, because he will be the person involved. I mean, the main person to be involved in your transfer process is your DSO. So I had a conversation with my DSO, even though she didn't want me to transfer out. I mean, I had built a very good communication ties with her, and then she really liked me and she didn't want me to leave. So she was trying to convince me stay, but I had made my mind to transfer out. But the thing is that when you want to transfer, the school will not resist that, unless if you are owing the school. If not, the school has no decision to take, or they have not got any right to restrict you from transferring out. The prerogative is yours. If you want to transfer, then you do that. So I had a conversation with my DSO, and then I asked the process, how exactly do I go by that? And then the only thing I needed was to get an acceptance letter from the new school, which in this sense was Prairie State College in Chicago. So I needed to get an acceptance letter from Prairie State, and then get a transfer form from Prairie State. So I requested that from the new DSO I was communicating with here in Prairie State College. And then after 2 days, when I got the acceptance letter, I also got the transfer form. So the transfer form, you, the student, has to fill and then send it to your DSO to also endorse it. So this is where it gets tricky when you're owing the school. No school will also take you into the school if you're already in another school and you didn't go through the right process to transfer. I can't say this for all universities or all colleges, but then for the process I went through, I barely needed to do that or communicate with my DSO to clarify that I'm not owing the school. I've gone through all the processes. I have a legal status. I'm a student, and I mean, probably there might be some communications backstage, but then because I'm not privy to those information, I cannot say much more about that. But then the basic thing you need to know is that you cannot do this without your DSO. So when I got the acceptance letter and the transfer form, I filled my portion and then I sent it to my DSO through mail. And then, even though it was a sad moment that she has to sign out, I mean, she has to sign me out and transfer me out. But then that was the process. I had to transfer out of that very university. So she endorsed that form for me, sent it back to me through the mail, and copied me and copied the school also, because she had to send to Private State College through mail. So she copied me in the mail she sent to the school, and everything was just within a day. It is not any difficult process. So the main thing in transferring from a school is the transfer form, because the transfer form tells the new school that, oh, this person went to this school and then he has done A, B, and C. He did these courses in this school. He has paid all his fees. He has done all the legal obligation or the financial obligation, and then he is okay, or we are okay to accept him here or to accept her here into this very school. So you need to do the transfer form, and in doing the transfer form, your DSO is the main person involved here. I mean, you don't need your dean, you don't need any other person, you don't need your departmental head, no one. You only need your DSO in transferring your program or your course or whatever to another university. So just after doing that, it was more or less like I was set. But then everything is not done until the school finally transfers your service information to the new school. That is the critical aspect. The transfer form is just to more or less like give you a clearance that, oh, I mean, he's okay, he can transfer out. But then the main transfer is not just the transfer form, but the transfer of your service information. So that one, you would have to let the DSO know exactly when he needs to transfer out. In my case, the DSO asked me when exactly I wanted to be transferred. And then because I was writing exams as at that time, I mean, she told me they cannot transfer me out during the exams because they have to complete my profile, which is getting all the exams and the classes I've taken in the school, attaching it to the file they sent to the new school, which was Prairie State. So I needed to finish writing the exams after marking, and the marking was very quick. I think 2 days after, no, the day after the vacation day, all results were in. So just the day after vacation, I mean, the DSO told me that is the earliest day they can transfer my form or they can transfer my service information. So if I want it to be sent that very day, then they can send it that day. Or if I want it to be sent later, maybe 2 months later or a week later or 2 weeks later, I am the prerogative is mine. What I tell them is what they do. So I was like, fine, if everything will be ready a day after vacation, why wait for a week? Why wait for 2 weeks? Just transfer it. I mean, the next day after vacation. So the next day, she transferred me out, and then she sent me an official email letting me know that my service information has been transferred to Prairie State College, and then they have 10 good years for me to come back and continue what I was doing. Now when you transfer from a school, it is, I mean, they don't cut you off, That is one advantage. They don't cut you off. Let's say you transfer from one very school, you were doing, let's say, psychology, and you go and do another thing, and then 5 years down the line, 7 years down the line, you want to have a psychology degree. You can always go back to the school and then continue from where you left off, because they don't cancel, they don't, I mean, brush you off, they don't cut you off, they only transfer you out. So you can always be transferred in again. So basically, that was all the transfer process. And then I had to register with the new school, pay my fee, register for classes, and then move from or fly from Texas to Chicago. And that was all the transfer process. It isn't difficult, it isn't any complicated thing, but what you need to take note of is that it's, I mean, there may be some slight differences depending on the school, especially when you are transferring to another university where their application is quite robust. I mean, I'm saying robust because let's say you apply to a school which didn't take transcript evaluation, they didn't take any test score, and then now you are transferring to a school that takes transcript evaluation and takes test scores and even statement of purpose. It means that you would have to, I mean, get your transcript evaluated, you would have to write your statement of purpose and get all the documents the new school you are applying to requires before they can admit you. So it doesn't mean that, oh, I applied to this school and I didn't evaluate my transcript, I didn't do A, I didn't do B. So when I'm going to this school it is going to be the same. It is never going to be the same. So first, research about the school, know the exact thing the school wants. Probably you can schedule for a meeting, because I also scheduled for a meeting with the school and it was a video meeting. So I saw them, they also saw me. I asked them all the questions I needed to know about the application, their fees, everything about the school, scholarships, and all opportunities. I researched or I asked them before transferring to the school. So basically, this is how you can transfer if you're already here in the state. Now, for those of you who are in Ghana, you know that you want to transfer out the moment you get here. Don't wait until it is too late, because when you come to the school, every school and their policies. Some schools, the first day you come to school, you'd have to pay either all your first semester fee, or let's say half of your first semester fee. Let's say you want to transfer and you didn't do that early, you are now here in the state and you have to go to the school, you have to report to the school. So when you go, you stay there even 2 3 days, you are obliged to pay your legal, I mean, your financial obligations. Or you are required to pay your fee, because you have been in that school for about 3 days or a week. Every school and their policy. So make sure, if you want to transfer right upon admission, the moment you know, oh, maybe you went for your visa interview early. Let's say your program starts somewhere in August and you got your interview, let's say, in June. So you have 2 months in between. So after you got your visa approved in June, you have July and August to apply to another school. So just apply to another school and let them know you already have your visa, and that will even, I mean, fast track the process, and they can quickly do that for you. And then you can communicate with your DSO, because your service information is with one school. You cannot jump them and go to another school. You get it? So other than that, maybe you have to go through the whole process again and pay another service fee and all those kind of thing, but then that will be against you. So why don't you communicate with your DSO? And they are never going to be like, oh, you just got admitted to this school, so we are never going to transfer you out. No school will do that. The moment you want to transfer, they are surely going to do that, and they can transfer you out. So the moment you know, oh, I want to transfer, whether you're now going for your visa or you have your visa already, start applying to the new school. Let them know that you have a visa already, you apply to this school, and then you'll be transferring from that school, and then they can, I mean, communicate with you and know exactly how you should go about that. Transferring is never difficult, especially when you have your visa already or when you're here in the state. It's a simple process. Don't freak out if your fee is very huge. I mean, sometimes I am someone who always preach against having a very high or a very huge tuition fee. But in case you come and you want to transfer out, this is the process you have to go through in transfer, because I transferred from Midwestern State University in Texas to Prairie State College here in Chicago. I hope this video was very helpful. If you find it very helpful, kindly subscribe to my page, and then make sure you go and watch other videos also with the Fred Effect, with Nana Kweku, Eddie, with Dr. Kwame, and then with some Charles. I mean, all the videos I have, make sure you go and watch all of them. Follow me also on TikTok, is the same name, FilaGH TV, or on IG FilaGH. On all social media platforms, FilaGH or FilaGH TV. Thank you so much for coming in, and thank you so much for learning with me. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. Bye.